Everyone has a life story to tell, but an incredible life story is shared and told differently. So it's a pleasure having you on Incredible Life Stories with Simon Kasyate. Tonight on the program, an even more incredible story. I mean, I just don't know how we managed to get these incredible life stories from ordinary folks who live extraordinary lives. And it's always my pleasure to give them the opportunity to inspire all of us, share their innermost incredible living, if for nothing else, really, to get us feeling like we too have an incredible story to tell. Now on the program, I have a very interesting lady. In simple terms, she prefers to call herself a lover of life. That would mean you and I, because I mean, who doesn't love their life? But then there are those who love their lives pro max. And that's Anita Komukama. Today on the program. Anita, yes. Welcome to Incredible Life Stories.
Thank you, Simon, for having me.
I must say you're looking really chic, and yes, your usual style of being eccentric.
Thank you very much.
You're a lover of life. You describe yourself as such.
Yes. But
you do so many things, Anita. At your very young age, you have climbed mountains, yes, taken photographs of sunsets and sunrises, ridden bikes. Yes. We're not talking about bicycles, we're talking about engine-propelled motorbikes. You run as a recreational runner. You are sporty. You do everything, and yet you also run a professional 8 to 5. But to crowd it up, you are now an author. You have a beautiful book with an interesting title. That could be even more interesting for this conversation. Yes. The title of the book Anita wrote is Life in the Single Lane. You've heard of phrases like stay in your lane, but now she's telling us life in the single lane. Let's start from there. Yeah. It's life in the single lane. That's it.
So life in the single lane is really about singlehood. So you know, when you're driving or riding, in my case, there are lanes. So of course you change lanes. There are dual carriage lanes. There are single lanes. So this is a metaphor really to talk about a singlehood, because you're in the lane alone. You're not partnered. So really, that's what life in the single lane is about.
Anita is a female adult of sound mind that should otherwise be married. But according to our society, she's asked at every turn and twist in the local language. And you can interpret that in every language that you profess. She feels that as a nagging question every single day. But yet, it's a choice on her part to stay where she is in the single lane. But even though that were her choice, she still has to face with societal expectations.
Yes.
But then you got down to write this book. You seem like you have been in the single lane for centuries, and yet you would pass for somebody still in their teens.
Yes. Yeah, so one disclaimer before we delve into the discussion. I did not write this book discouraging people to get married. It's the notion I get around, you know.
Oh, that this is a guide.
It's a guide on not to get married. No, I will debunk this. It is not a guide not to get married. Who am I to distort nature, you know? I'm a Christian too. It's God's, you know, plan and ordination that people get married for purposes of, you know, procreation and
not recreation, as seems to be the case for the most part.
Yeah, so we have to multiply, fill the earth. So this book really is about the stages towards getting married. Yeah, it's quite. If you talk to many people out there,
it's the stages towards getting married, not stages away
from getting married. So it's what, as an individual, should I look out for? Instead of being fixated with this whole marriage thing, what should I do as I prepare myself? First of all, you acknowledge that you would want to get married. It's a thing you would want to do. But are you going to go according to societal, you know, pressures and things like that? And then once you get there, you're saying, you know, I have unfortunately had people say, I should have waited, you know, I should have.
Like those who drive will tell you.
Yes.
The other lane seems to be moving pretty fast.
Faster.
Until you join it. Then you realize the lane you are in was
okay, you know? Yeah, so this book really is about while I'm in my single lane, or while I'm in the single lane, what do I need to do for myself? What do I need to prepare? What do I need to, you know, how should I get myself? How should I set myself for this? Or even ask myself, do I really want to do this? You know, it's not by force.
Or should I just stay still?
Yes.
And then marriage finds me? Or can I live my life?
Live my life.
And marriage finds me along?
It finds you. You're not fixated. And most times I'm not married, so I won't speak from the marriage end, but I have interacted. Many of my friends are married. Many say it's nice when it finds you, it just finds you. You're not scrounging around for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's nice when it finds you. So while you're in the waiting and in the single lane, what are you doing for yourself? So this book really delves into its stories. They are a bit fictional, but actually happened. Yeah, it's life experiences.
I also noticed that you paper the book with quite a number of quotes.
Yes.
You also paper it with Bible verses.
Yes.
You also write it in very conversational style.
Yes.
If for nothing else, at least to keep us glued. But before we get into the nitty-gritties of this book, I think it's important just to know, Anita, who are you? When were you born? Where were you born? To whom were you born?
Yes, okay. So, yes, I'm Anita Komukama. A certain age. Actually, I'm very comfortable saying my age.
I don't want to be accused of forcing a lady to mention her age, but whatever age you want to mention, please do. We know that you discounted some VAT, some FRIs, some pairs you add.
Cut off a bit, yes. I am so many years old. Yeah, I'm on the 4th floor and a lover of life, like you said earlier. Born to 2 parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alex Kakuru from Barara.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was raised in Entebbe. And Entebbe has been my life. It has been experiences.
An urban girl.
Urban, but with a bit of rural.
And a proper solid ground.
So solid ground, my parents tried to balance out our lives, expose us to a bit of everything. Wow. So that, when you're out there, you're not scrounging and suffering. You can manage, you can fit everywhere.
Maybe to the best of your recollection, just break down to us the details of that, like to your best of your recollection of your childhood. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was filled with my dad really loved us. He was, and so my mom as well. He loved to party.
We understand the daughter-father relationship. Mom will understand.
That's true. Oh, she always says, the girls and their father. That's their thing. So yeah, he liked to, celebrate our birthdays. So there was always a birthday celebration. So it's a thing where he always celebrated milestones in our lives.
Wow.
So we always
were
forward. Sure, there's something that's going to be celebrated. Then we always had to take trips to the village. I don't want to call it a village anymore. It's a city now.
Oh, yeah.
The city raided us.
The city came to your village.
Came to us. But back then it was really a village. For that experience of, fetching water
from the well.
From the river. River Rizi is not far from home.
Wow.
Firewood to make a fire later.
And understanding that milk doesn't come from the fridge.
Understanding milk doesn't come from a fridge. Fruits come from a tree, not a juice pack, So exposure to all of that.
And that matoke is
really grown on a
stem and becomes green before it becomes yellow.
And how it gets to yellow.
Yes.
So all of that we were exposed to. He was one that taught us how to count our monies, If you want something nice, my dad was very frugal. If you want something nice, he's not just going to hand it to you. He'll tell you, you have to work for that, When you grow up, work hard, make your money. And if you want something, afford it. And don't expect from people.
From people.
Yes, don't beg, don't, So it was a mix and balance of that. My dad was the kind, or my parents, who would say, bring your friends home, both boys and girls.
Wow.
Bring them home. Yeah, we want to see them.
He needed to know who you're hanging out with.
Everyone. Tell us everything, what is going on. So there was also a notion of friendship built in there. So he didn't want us, going out there and the world.
And hiding your kind of friends.
Exactly.
And then he gets shocked by seeing somebody. But let's also not kid ourselves. You certainly had your moments of misdemeanors as a child, some picadillos here and there. How did your parents treat you at the time where you have gone off the rail?
Oh, they were quite strict. My parents were really, really strict and Christian. So we were raised in the very Christian background. tough.
10 commandments were etched somewhere in the sitting room.
Yes, family that stays together, you know,
Prays
those
together.
kinds of notions and all. So it was always at the back of your mind that if you did something wrong, you are going to be in so much trouble.
Where trouble means what? Some corporal punishments, grounding?
You will be caned, you will mostly caned and told of, you know, those words that you're told and they stick in your heart.
And you're like, I would rather have been beaten physically than told these words.
So the whole week you're, oh my God, what did I do? What did they say? You know, it impacts your heart. So it's something that you didn't want to
Your mother
happen.
once told me that you think your bag of books is very heavy. Keep neglecting your bag of books because you think it's heavy. When you don't, you realize that the bag of charcoal that you'll be carrying for your clients or potatoes, because then you'll end up being the guy that carries charcoal to people's homes.
And it will be heavier. Wow. You see, their words stayed, especially mothers, and they had that look. My mother had that look. That look that you don't want.
Every look had its code.
Thank you.
Don't eat here. Go home now.
Yes. Don't say that. Yes.
Don't sit there.
Yes. So life then was about avoiding that. You know?
And what schools do they subject you to?
Yeah, so in Entebbe, we had the public school, Lake Victoria Primary School. It's still there. Sometimes when we are doing our runs, I think we run past
go around it.
Yes, so it's always
brings
an
back
honor.
memories.
Oh yes, so many memories of sports and, you know, everything. We were drama, music, dance and drama and everything. And then I moved to another school in Entebbe due to the Christian background. It was called Entebbe Christian Academy, which now sent me to secondary school. I was in Mary Hill High School. We were Butama. They called us Butama.
Wow, interesting. I wonder why.
There's a whole reason why. Because, do you want me to tell you?
Or have you sought permission from the Old Girls Association?
Exactly.
Is that,
So
I don't want to
I don't want to give out our secrets.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And then I went to Trinity College Nabingo for my
Clearly,
A-level.
I can see the weave through. Yeah. All this time, did you have an inclination of the kind of vocation you wanted to end up in?
Yes, yes.
And from what age?
From around primary 4, before, I was very sure I wanted to be a doctor.
Ooh.
I was very, very sure I wanted to be a doctor.
Why?
Because one of my characters, or one of the things my mother says I was, even from as far as being a baby, was kindness.
Oh.
Kindness and empathy, you know. I don't know how you see empathy in a baby, but yeah, she says that's who I was.
You weren't suckling her breast so hard.
So hard.
You know.
No.
You realize
Gently,
eventually to rest.
Yes,
you say, Mommy, rest.
Mommy, rest, you know. I won't suckle hard. So yes, I knew I wanted to help people, to be a source of solutions for people, you know. Even animals. I love animals.
Wow.
So every time we would walk from school, we would find chicks that have been abandoned, kittens, dogs, puppies.
And you gather those.
Carry them home.
What?
My mother will tell you stories of puppies we adopted, brought home.
Thanks,
all
Anita.
the time. Yes, and my sister Brenda. So, yeah, I from then knew that I want to be a problem solver in terms of, you know, people's
And
lives.
the only way you thought would best solve people's problems,
Yes,
was going to save them in life by being a medical doctor.
take care of their health and all.
Let's be clear, if you're just joining us on Incredible Life Story with Simon Kasyate, Anita is no doctor yet. So along the way, she will tell us, where did that dream fall? You still watching with us? Let's be right back.
Everyone has a life story to tell, but an incredible life story is shared and told differently.
Anita Komukama, a lady that does so many incredible things, including stuff that is for the most part known as the preserve of men, like riding a motorbike. I mean, if you found her seated on her diggy, as we call it in street speak, you would only be convinced she's a lady if her braids sell her out and they are falling through the helmet. Other than that, the speed and agility is anything that you could pass for any male character. And that's not sound chauvinistic, but yes. Were you that kind of a bit of a tomboy growing up as a girl?
Yes, I was a very, I don't know.
Tombish boy.
Tomboy.
You didn't tell us about your siblings. How many of these are boys and how many are girls?
So my father is one of those, and my father and mother. Sorry, I always speak about my father.
We understand. We said your mom will understand.
She
we all
will,
understand.
she will, mommy, I love you. So I have a brother and a sister, and I am the firstborn.
Wow.
Yes, so it's
So you
just the three of
gravitated
us.
towards your brother.
Towards the
to become
brother.
a brother.
Yes, I sometimes feel as, I don't know if this will sound bad, but I thought I would be born a boy. I should have been born a boy.
Thought you would have wanted to have been born a boy.
I think I wanted, because you talked about the tomboy behavior. Growing up,
Climbing those trees
I
in
used to
Nigeria.
love playing with the boys. I felt their games were more
Engaging.
interesting, you know. Yes, I played with the dollies. I skipped the rope. I played kwepena.
But that was not as engaging.
No, I would see the boys. I'm like, I want that, you know.
Play football,
I want to play
contact sport,
football.
you have 6 aside.
Yes.
You know.
Then some of the neighbors were blessed to have video games. So sometimes I would, cross over
Play
and we're
video
playing
games.
video games. And yeah, I look back and wonder, okay, what was that about? But it explains now why some of these things are there. So that's
So you're a bit
that
of an
tomboy streak.
adrenaline junkie.
Junkie,
You
yes.
have to get things done. What was that point that broke your motivation to be a doctor?
To be a doctor. So, and the point where I didn't make it, or where I didn't become a doctor, was because of our university point system.
Oh,
Yes.
So you went ahead to say, okay, I'll go study the
Yes.
hard physics,
All
chemistry,
the
biology,
works.
and all sorts of things.
Yes.
Dissect rats and cockroaches.
Everything.
Get to read MBV Roberts as the textbooks were.
All those big biology books and everything. Studied, did the PCB, physics, chemistry, biology, applied for medicine. And I missed by 0.00000. I was devastated.
I was about to ask.
I was broken. I cried. I almost told my parents, can I do A level again? How is this not going to happen? So, of course, I had put medicine first at our famous university, Makerere. And I think I also put Mbara University, second choice. So I applied for the private for consideration. I still didn't get that.
Ooh,
On private sponsorship, yes. Then my third option was food science and nutrition. So yeah, somehow we didn't get enough counseling in terms of career guidance. We call it career guidance. They should have been able to guide and say, you know what, you didn't get this medical bit, but try this, the nutrition.
And doctors say that medical is solving an already manifested problem.
Exactly.
But food science
is
the preventive part where you eat right, then you avoid
everything
non-communicable
else. The voice
diseases.
coming through. Did you study nutrition? You're speaking the actual jargon.
My own incredible life story is almost like yours,
Close
but let's
to.
say I too could have been a medical doctor. But I'm here with you, just
Look at you.
interviewing people.
Okay.
It happens.
It
So that
does, yeah.
devastation, when you get devastated as a person, Anita, what's the end in it for you? Do you feel, some people take the extreme, take their lives.
Yeah.
Others never be the same again. They possibly hate the road that leads them to a point where they find disappointment. How did you come out of that devastation?
Okay.
Because let's not forget, it was at a very young age, formative
Exactly,
years, when you
yeah.
make almost indelible impressions of life.
Decisions, yes. So to continue from what you just said, that was a young age. You know, now we have been carved into philosophers. You say, if this doesn't work, okay, this will
You
work.
have the
you
benefit
know?
of hindsight.
You're flexible. You
Life
fit
makes
into
you a
what
motivational
life.
speaker.
Thank you. So of course, at that point, no, it was devastation. So I said, okay, the third option. Okay, it's at Chambogo University. It's food science. Okay. So I just went through the notions of everything.
To say, okay, I'm not at home
I'm
seated.
not at home.
Let me go to a university
This
like all
is
others.
government sponsored. Let me go. Let me study. My parents would want to see me in university. I want to do university. Okay, let me just go. So it was a whole, let me just go. There was no future aspiration after that. The motivation was, of course, I like to do the best at everything I am done. I think that's what really took me through. So, okay, this has been presented, fine.
Let me go give it my best.
Let me give it my best.
And the best you gave it.
And the best I gave it, I studied. It was a very intense course. I finished. It was 4 years. We graduated. But then towards the 4th year, I start to see maybe why I am where I am. Because there was a lot of medical things that we did in there. Like you said earlier, it's food. It's related to preventive measures so that you avoid going to the medical doctors.
Absolutely.
Yes. So food is also a way of,
it's medicine.
It's medicine. It's natural medicine. So I started to accept and say, you know what, I could carve out a life in this path. I accept it. And of course, my experience, I wanted to go to Makerere University, but I ended up in Kyambogo. But my Kyambogo experience was very beautiful. I made friends there, friends who I still hold to this point and very dearly. I went into sports. I was in church, very active. Yeah, and
so sports.
Yes.
What kind of sport are we talking about here?
I was a swimmer, so I was on the Kyambogo University swimming team.
That means you had started swimming way earlier.
Way earlier, yes. You can't be just raised in Entebbe
and not swim.
You don't know how to swim.
Just
the lake is right there.
Just in case the roads get closed, you need to swim.
You swim. That's a good one.
I know that place in Chitu always gives me the creeps. I have a feeling the lake is going to cross the road one day.
There is a word that goes around that it was once,
it closed out.
Closed out.
See?
So somehow, it opened up. Yeah.
What other sports?
So I almost went into rugby. Yet again, yes, rugby.
Going for tacos?
Yes, I love the sport of rugby, but of course I was discouraged by...
things of breaking your collarbone.
Okay. I was threatened, we won't come to hospital to see you. Of course, at that point, you easily listen.
But also
I feel like I could have...
Yeah, you also are dealing with self-realization of the fact that you're actually a lady.
Yes, and
then your big identity issues. Yes. And you're also beginning to get quite a bit of attention from the opposite sex.
Yes.
Hence.
There you go.
But how are you dealing with that?
So at that point, given the very strict upbringing, Christian, so some of those things were still gonging in my head. I was
every time a guy walked up to you and winked at you,
I will
start remembering Bible verses. And the Lord's prayer part would be, "Thou shalt not lead me unto temptation."
Yes, so
but
I was
deliver us from evil.
Exactly. It sticks and it keeps guiding you and it keeps pushing you. So I was very careful when it came to relationships and all. Too careful that I think I attempted not to even. Like, I would think, the costs of going into relationships, what is this going to cause?
The repercussions would be disastrous.
So,
oh, what a coward.
Now that I mentioned, it sounds, oh God, it sounds wrong, I feel I should have maybe related more and all that. Yeah, so it's part of this.
Just to give you a bit of comfort, Anita.
Yeah.
This thing is not about how long you relate to make the perfect relationship person in there.
That's true.
The manual is not about trial and experience. No, you could hit it first time and it works very well.
True.
You could do it and you become a serial heartbreaky.
Things we have learned along
the way.
Time, yes.
So Anita, you're a biker. You're a mountaineer. You love outdoor adventure.
Yes.
But I'll take you process by process. When was the first time you actually leaped over a bike? Did you ever ride a BMX bike as a little girl, jumping off your brother's bike or something like that?
Yes. Like I mentioned, I played a lot with the boys. Boys were my friends in the neighborhood. My first experience with a bicycle was on a Hero bicycle. My dad owned a Hero bicycle.
And you went straight to that, not
to the
even
Hero
via...
bicycle. No. I had a tricycle when I was a child.
Okay, but that we discount.
I don't even remember. So
that's in the pictures, family album.
Thank you. But this Hero bicycle is where my first cycling experience happened.
I want to understand. Did you put your leg across the back, or you pass?
The triangle.
The triangle.
Yes.
The leg was.
You can't fit. It's too high. So I learned in the triangle. We had a help who was So he's the one that helped. That he used to pick us from school on that bicycle.
On that bicycle.
So after he drops us home and, we've changed into our playing clothes, straight onto the bike.
There is always that one disaster that such a bicycle
There are
brings,
many.
Just recount to us one of those major ones that instill the fear of God in you.
So my sister will even narrate this. I was the bicycle hardly had brakes.
It always had the brake failure, because what else failed on that bike except the brakes?
So my brakes, I kid you not, my brakes were the fence. We had those Christmas tree. Those were my
At least
brakes.
it was not a one. So on a
I would
bad
ride
day,
into it.
you go through it and then
you're
you get
ready.
stuck.
Yes, that's how the bicycle will stop. So I don't know what happened this particular one. There was a stem I didn't see. I usually had a spot.
Was it a stem or it was a root? That's above the ground.
Stem, I think they had trimmed and somehow it was exposed. So I ran into it. It hurt me. The bicycle, something happened.
By the time you realized the bicycle was...
The other side, I was in excruciating pain. My sister said I got the bicycle and threw it.
But I know how much energy you had to carry a hero bicycle.
Adrenaline. I was mad and I promised myself not to do it again. But of course, the next day, I hopped back on.
Okay, the bicycle, now I can understand. A motorbike.
Motorbike, I also sometimes question myself if
what
I'm
death
okay.
wish were you up to? Like, who hurt you?
I know, right? So I have, in the mountaineering and hiking space, I've met a couple of friends who we call ourselves crazy because of the things that we do.
And that's not very powerful.
I know, we've accepted. We've accepted. So he rides motorcycles, he rides bikes. His was inspired from when he was a child. The father, brought them up, raised them up in this way.
So he was in motocross and
all of that, yeah. So he would talk bikes, and whenever he would ride his bike, I said, I'm really interested. Like, I would come and we talk about it. And before I talk about this story, many years ago, I worked in northern Uganda in Kitgum district.
Oh.
Yes. So, of course, going to the field, my colleagues had motorcycles.
That's
yes.
the best way to go around.
That's the best way to go around.
If you're especially going to remote places of Kitgum, like
Madiope, yes. Towards the Sudan border. You know this thing.
I know this country. I've traveled it.
Exactly. So they each were allocated a motorcycle. And of course, we'd have field work. I didn't have one, but sometimes I would hop onto some of these motorcycles.
Hop onto it. How are you sitting? Like this or like?
Like Chishija, like a man.
Like a man.
Yeah, would hop on, and somewhere in the middle of nowhere, I'm like, can I try? Teach me, Teach me. I would like to learn to ride. You never know. I might also one day have some field work, and there's no car in the office. So, and indeed, the person taught me. So these are the gears. This is the brake. This is the accelerator. And this is how you balance it out. But also I had prior knowledge to driving a manual car. So it helped because it's sort of the same orientation, but this is a two-wheeler, yeah. So with all that knowledge, I rode.
So you could ride a bike?
I ride. 3 days were enough. And it's very easy to learn.
But weren't you such a spectacle on the road, especially in the remote parts of the country, seeing a lady
riding? Fortunately, in northern Uganda, it's a very it's a normalcy for women. All women ride motorcycles.
And bicycles as well.
And bicycles. So it was... Yeah, there was no biggie, except from our part of the country.
I find it interesting that they ride their husbands.
Thank you. Husbands, children,
then the child is on the back with a half a calabash covering the head.
You know these things, Simon. So yeah, that's how I learned. So back to our story, I speak with this
So the bike you learned on was the usual Yamaha.
Yamaha, yes. It's an adventure bike. It's
this one meets you.
Yes.
And he's riding a little more advanced,
Exactly.
Machine.
Exactly.
More CCs.
More CCs,
torque
more power, and all that. Beautiful looking. So he sees the interest. He's like, oh, you like bikes? I say, oh, absolutely. I dream of having one. Because even as a child growing up, I used to like watching I don't know what it was called.
Renegade?
Renegade, oh my God, Renegade was our hero.
Absolutely. The bike.
The bike, and then the sporting,
And then
where they would lean. So I would also, in my own time, pretend like I'm leaning, and the interest was sort of there, but I couldn't fathom what that was as a child. But now growing up, I see the interest started way back. Yes. So we spoke with this person, and then I think a week later, he sends me a link to a person in South Africa who sells bikes.
Wait a minute. So it escalated that fast?
Yes, I kid you not. In that year, that is when I buy my first bike.
It arrives here.
I looked, he says, you look, we could talk, I could interest you. Before he knows it, I'm sending, I like this bike. I looked at the link, I saw the bike. I said, I want to get this bike.
And the process began.
The process began. I emptied my savings.
Other women are emptying their savings, going for spas, having their nails done.
Which is also okay.
Yeah, yes, but for you.
I went for this bike. No history. I didn't even, ask around. I just saw the bike. And I bought it. And it arrived in 2020, the year when COVID. Yes. Yes. And
complete with its gear, helmet.
I started to source those while it was on the way. I started to source a helmet, a jacket, and then also get to know who around me rides a motorcycle, so that they mentor you. Exactly.
The mad people.
The mad people, my people. So I will tell you, I will shock you that is the bike I have now. That was my first bike. Very big, very powerful, with zero, experience. So the bike comes, and I'm looking at it, and I'm afraid. I'll tell you, 3 months, I just looked at it. I didn't do anything. What? I looked at the bike. Some people would come, they test it, they ride it, they say, hop on. I say, no. It was so much fear.
And then one day,
they say, you know what? Let's do this.
If we die,
rip
we
the
die.
Band-Aid
I remember.
off. Let's do this. We are riding to Nambole.
From?
So there's another story in there. I hid the bike from my parents.
Very important, yes.
Mom, Dad. I hid the bike from them because, this is a crazy...
I mean, a bike is a death machine.
It is. No, to be honest, it is. So you've bought a motorcycle, you've emptied your savings, you had plans. Here is the thing. So, I practiced what I did. I first, of course, with the prior knowledge I had picked, I decided to start with a smaller one. So a friend hooked me up with a border rider, who is a friend of his. And every day for 3 weeks, I would go. So we kept the bike very far from home.
Somewhere else.
Yes, at the person who gave me the link at his house. So I would go, we practice with the border, how to go into the road, build your confidence. This is a smaller,
a smaller body.
Body, yes. It's different from a car, So we'd practice, even how to carry someone, all those things. And then after 3 weeks, I decided to hop onto the bike. Oh my goodness.
From where? In Entebbe still?
So no, it was in Muyenga. Yes.
So Muyenga to Nambole.
To Nambole. That was very frightful. My goodness, it was.
But that's the stuff you're made of, adrenaline.
When you're there, when the adrenaline will gush and all, but sometimes when you're there, you wonder, why am I doing this? What am I doing? Sometimes it's a spur of the moment thing that you do. Yeah. So eventually we get to Nambole. It's a very good community, the bikers. They're always ready and open. We found them there. They had heard about this girl who has bought a bike, who is very crazy.
Wow.
And they were ready to receive her.
I want you the only girl in that group like that?
No. The president currently is
a lady.
She's former president of the club. Is a lady.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Let's take a short break, Anita. But when we return, we'll look at this other craze of climbing mountains. For especially I, who is so frightful of heights. how one like you chooses that among the things that you do as a favorite pastime
Yes.
is to scale mountains is yet another thing I'm yet to understand.
Yeah.
But we'll be right back. It's Incredible Life Stories with me, Simon Kasyate.
Everyone has a life story to tell, but an incredible life story is shared and told differently.
For Anita here, she chose that she will adventure wherever life hits at her. And beyond her 8 to 5, she chose bike riding and mountaineering.
Yes.
When did that hit you?
Mountaineering, yet again, another crazy friend introduced me. It was a time at work where things were a bit stressful and we needed something to detox, to distress. So she suggested I come with her. The club, Mountain Slayers Uganda, had a trip. We have an annual calendar. So one of the trips, she invited me to come for a hike. And that was, the rest is history.
Beat you
It hit me. So it was a great group, and the adventure, you push yourself, which resonates well with me.
Is that as gruesome as running long distances?
I'd like to think they're the same. Everything has its, you respect every
For the comfort of those watching us,
Yes.
Anita and I are known, especially in the long distance running, and the image of you running at kilometer, I think 34,
35.
and Kilimanjaro marathon in Mosh. I was coming back almost dead to my tracks.
Yes.
And you were headed where I was coming
Yes.
from, and I knew you
I
had
know.
another, say, 8 kilometers to get to where I am.
Yes.
And yet you were pushing.
And I still had the smile.
Yes, of course.
I greeted you.
Exactly. I don't remember answering back
No.
because it just sort of coming out of your face.
Yes.
How did that also come to you to say now I'll start running long distances?
I honestly don't understand how my brain works, but it's always a thing of, I can do this, especially a thing that most people fear. I'm always saying, where others don't dare, that is where I will go. I don't know if I'm proving a point to myself or not to anyone really, but I will want to do it. I say I will show them that it can be done.
Wow.
And I will show myself that it can be done. For every good thing that you do, there'll always be
A negative
bit. So we've decided with the different women in our community, in this running communities, in the hiking, that we are going to focus. So we encourage each other. Yeah. At first, I used to think I was the only one.
Then you realize.
I'm usually, like you said, I'm usually at the back.
Always giving us support.
Always at the back, sweeping. And they'll come these comments, give up, why are you trying? Oh, you
Why did you eat all this amount of food?
Oh, it can drain you. But at the back of your mind, the thing I told you that pushes
Then your
me.
Christian folks will say, the evil one is the one without being chased.
Yeah, so
There's no rest for the evil. For the weekend.
Oh, Simon. So you just keep going. You keep going, and at the end of the day, that feeling after you have accomplished something.
Oh, yes.
A mean feat and a very hard one. So that feeling is what you look forward to, and it keeps you going
even for the next
one.
I'll get back to the elephant in the room. The single end.
Yeah.
So all these things that you are doing, would it be right for someone to argue that you do them as a smoke screen for the void you possibly have in your heart from an intimacy perspective? Not to say you're not loved. I mean, your parents love you to the high heavens and back. Your siblings do love you. But we're talking about this other love, the romantic relationship that is.
Yes and no. Yes, there are times the loneliness comes in. You feel like, I should be with someone right now. We should, us in the single lane, feel like people who are partnered and married are in a better place. They're happy, the things we see on social media, all that. Yes, and you're thinking, I should be with somebody and share these experiences. That comes in. But then there's this other side that says, you know what, no.
Am I going to sit here
And
feel
wait,
sorry for myself until I get this someone who
No, you can't.
Anita?
You can't. You've seen that illustration where someone is seated and they've become a skeleton. Because
They've been waiting.
They've been waiting. I'm not going to let that happen. No way.
Mummified, waiting for true love.
For true love, no. I at this point, I can experience life with friends, alone, because some of these relationships, you need to make them now, you need to feed them now, because I believe when you're partnered, now the focus is going to be on your
the two of you, and then eventually the children will come along, then the in-laws and the wider circle.
You have a whole
ecosystem
altogether. So for me, that's what feeds me. Like, do these things now. When also, the Lord brings that person,
well and good.
Yeah.
But let's also not kid ourselves. There's the element of your financial ability to meet, sustain, and sometimes exceed your own fantasies, your whims and fancies, and your life. Yeah. I mean, girls are calling, asking for transport money, but Anita says, I need this bike, and she can afford her own bike.
Yes.
So can we say that sometimes being successful in career leads you comfortably to the singles lane?
Yes and no. I think I mentioned at some part the upbringing bit where my father taught us to be...
You want something?
Work for it, earn it, get it. Yes. So that's really... I had financial literacy instilled in me right from childhood.
That said, and financial literacy, career growth and development, a go-getter spirit, and I don't really care attitude in terms of what people say, but as long as I am happy.
Yes.
Isn't that also the thing that possibly, maybe, scares some men from approaching a lady like you? Have you had some people make such confessions to you and say, Anita, you're such a fine piece of work, but I'm sorry, but I don't feel man enough
for you? But do they confess? Or they just walk away?
Okay, like with the benefit of hindsight.
It's for you to figure
it out.
Yes. Yeah, that happens a lot. But yet again, the person who is for you will be for you. They will come and they won't be scared.
Is your sister married?
No, she's not.
Okay.
Brenda, don't kill me.
We didn't ask whether she's dating or anything.
Yes.
But I just wanted to know how much pressure you are facing. You are the firstborn.
Yes.
She comes after you. I can imagine if she were married and you were not.
Yes.
But is this pressure highest within the nuclear family where you come from, or is it from the extended family?
Yeah. Thankfully, my parents have not put us on pressure.
Wow.
Yes. And I think for us, that is what has kept us going.
They are
our shield, our safe space. So it's, yes, of course, they are guiding us.
Because I know many parents who, in fact, put the pressure on themselves because they want to be seen as successful, and their badge of honor is that my child went through school, got a qualification, has a job,
and
has a partner, I have
children.
Grandchildren.
What they've done is they've decided they're going to bring us up the way to prepare us for partners.
And now you're also at this level where you are doing a lot of the heavy lifting as far as that preparation is concerned.
Exactly. So, and like I said, I am not anti-marriage, I'm actually pro-marriage, and I know one day I will be partnered.
But well, you get down to write your thoughts in this beautiful book, Anita. Are we seeing you diversifying your vocation away from food science and projects around that into sharing with us your nuggets on life? Are we going to see a book about mountain slaying, as you call it, bike riding in a conservative society where women wearing trousers in itself was, in yesteryears frowned upon, but you just don't just wear, trousers, but you are going ahead to flip your leg over a motorbike and ride through.
Yeah.
Do we see you out in many more other books?
Yes, and like we talked about career digressions, so I moved away from food science and nutrition, and now I'm in communications.
Wow.
I'm a writer. Yes. I'm a writer, I'm a communicator. So I think at this point, everything is sort of coming together and really where I'm supposed to be headed. So yes.
And if I should give some career guidance, maybe. there is so much we are told to eat and not to eat.
Yes.
But the way it is told to us, sometimes either instills fear or it's just not said very well, it's just doomsday messaging.
Yes.
So if you blended your knowledge on what to eat and what not to eat, when, how, and how to communicate it better, you possibly could win many more souls.
Exactly. And so that is where I see myself now, because with all these things I've experienced in life, writing is the best way. So this is not the last book I will write. There are more that will come in the offing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I hope through my story and through life's experiences all these years, I can still touch a heart like I've always wanted.
Wow.
It didn't happen in the medical aspect, but
Yet. We always have to add the word yet. Because you don't know.
Exactly.
This is not where the life ends. This is in fact where life begins.
Yes.
The frontiers are always moving.
Yes.
What gets you angry? You're always smiling, Anita. Do you ever get angry?
No, I get angry. Yes, what gets me angry? Oppression. Oppression, especially people who have power and oppressing those
That do not.
that do not.
That says something about the political side to you. Are you into politics?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. I've tried. I have tried to be interested, but everything I see just asks me. So I decided to pay a blind eye. And yet politics is very important.
That's the way life is.
Exactly. So it's oppression. I will even get physical if I ever find someone oppressing someone else who doesn't have the power to fight back.
Especially if it's a husband or a wife.
Oh, no.
And it's very easy, of course, to get you to laugh. Are you the kind that enjoys a spontaneous joke here and there, or are you the type that goes in for that deeply intellectual joke that someone cracks, you understand it first, and then others will laugh way
after that? Back then I used to be too serious, Yes, but now, I mean, you experience life, you go through, you fall down, you get up, so many things happen, and it all comes down to love life. Yeah, so I love jokes. I love intellectual talks. Wow. So I will blend into both. So yeah, I flow.
Talk about having a blend of intellectual talks and easy, usual chit-chat. Normally that's best done over a meal.
Yes.
What's your favorite dish?
I love matoke and binyewa.
Wow.
And groundnuts.
Mixed as katogo or one mashed and the other?
Katogo or separate.
Wow.
I will eat a mountain of that.
How do you love to wash that down?
I'm a tea person. Tea.
Milk tea or black tea?
Milk tea.
Milk tea.
Yes.
Whew, I'm just imagining the combination of talking groundnuts
and groundnuts, yes. Atomic explosion.
Well, but at least it gets you going. Look at you, you're glowing.
Yes, it does.
Anita, this is a very beautiful country, Uganda. You have traveled its length and breadth. I mean, you've worked and gone to the farthest point, Madiope, in Kitgum district. But if you must relax, and you've been to the rooftop of this country, climbed mountains that are almost higher than anything we can imagine. But where is that place that either you've been to or would want to go to in Uganda that you find a marvel? And why?
The place I would want to go to and I find a marvel and I would go over and over is in Kisoro.
Ooh.
Kisoro is beautiful, the clean air, the people are...
I love their color. I mean, their clothes are always colored. You just see a mosaic of
yes, it's serene. If the sun is out there,
hills,
exactly.
The mist getting off in the morning from the
mountains, you view them, and also because there's a whole story of how I am from Kisoro.
Okay. So
Yes.
it's home. So you get home beckons.
Exactly.
Calls you and
it's beautiful. That's actually thinking of it now. I want to tear.
Home is beckoning.
Home is beckoning. Yes. So Kisoro would be my go-to for serenity.
Wow.
Yes.
Of course, those of you who are watching us and viewing this program on our YouTube channel and others who catch us from wherever you get your podcasts, we can thank you more for joining these conversations and get inspired by these incredible life stories. And it's a very fine one. As an author, you obviously are motivated by writings and works of other authors.
Yeah.
What book could you pick off the shelf without asking yourself a second question? Is it an autobiography? Is it an adventure? Is it some kind of science fiction? Or is it a musings about life's nuggets here and there, like Life in the Single Lane?
I am a Paul Coelho buff. Paul Coelho. All his writings, the way he writes, the way he swings you on from beginning to end. Oh my goodness. I love Paul Coelho. And then Khaled, I think Khaled Mosi or something. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Yeah, he too he tells a history at all through fictitious stories. So yeah, those two get me going. I could pick up their book anytime and reread it.
You haven't said anything about music. You talked about music, dance, and drama in primary school, but have you ever been accused of being a good dancer, or can you say you have two left feet?
I am a good dancer.
Oh, really?
Extremely good dancer.
What kind of dance? Are we talking about folk?
Anything.
Any dance?
Anything.
I could dare you on a dance and be sure none of my toes will fall out.
No. No, I love music. I love music in all forms, the local, the international, traditional. I have musical ears.
Talking about musical ears, every time you are on the road running, you have headphones on. What are you listening to?
Depends on the day, depends on the mood, it depends on what has happened. I have a playlist, a running playlist. It moves from rap music to reggae to Bebe Cool to Christian inspirational. I have plenty of those.
On a run
but that is for when I'm in Kisoro. Enjoying the serenity, yes. So it will go from anything. Yeah. So
Anita, there's a young girl watching you at this particular moment who is in a situation that you were in many years ago as a young girl.
Yes.
I want you to look straight in her face and tell her something that she will never forget. What will that be?
I would tell the young girl, including myself.
There's a young girl in you.
The young girl in me is, I'm rebuilding her.
Wow.
Yes, because I feel like I ignored her. I grew up too quickly. So
and turned to a boy.
That too. So I would tell this young girl, believe in yourself.
Wow.
Believe in yourself. One, you are beautiful. Let no one ever tell you you are not. Tell you less, tell you more. You are beautiful, you are enough. Everything you set yourself to do, you can do it. The doubt will come, the naysayers will come.
The hurdles will be there.
The hurdles,
the journey is made
obvious. They have to be there. Life will not always be on a straight path.
True.
But believe in yourself and never let go of the belief in yourself. Just keep going. When you fall down, get up, wipe yourself, and keep going. Please don't stay down.
That may also work for the young man watching Anita, the lover of life, the biker, the mountain slayer, the sports junkie, the lover of books, the lover of life, the one that takes care of everyone around them with empathy and everything in between. And yet, her life is only just beginning.
Yes.
Thank you for watching Incredible Life Story with Simon Kasyate. We will meet same time, same place next week with yet another incredible life story. But for now, we can only say, Anita, since you're a lover of music, what would you say someone should close out on the program and go listen to?
Kendrick Lamar.
Wow.
And it's something? S-Z-A.
Yes.
Yes. There's a Luther Vandross song they've just redone. So it's, what is it called?
When it comes to Luther Vandross, you have me covered. And
exactly, I knew.
Thanks for coming to the program, Anita.
Yes.
We appreciate, and especially that music test has me hooked. We'll meet yet again in our journey of life.
On the trail.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
God bless, and yes, till next time.
Everyone has a life story to tell, but an incredible life story is shared and told differently.